Hello internets, Jesus loves you. My name's Cody and this is the Christian News Show we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays with geeksuttergrace.com. And our first story of the day is about 4 different movies made by the Lumo Project. They're making 4 different movies, but they're kind of interesting because really they're telling the same story. And that's because they are doing the 4 Gospels, but they're doing it word for word. And each movie is being released kind of one by one, so each movie gets its own audience. They are straight to DVD, but they do seem to be pretty high quality. They obviously have a ton of narrative because they are word for word, and so some of the things are like they say each thing that's happening. And so from what I've seen so far, I am going to admit that I do not think this is going to be for everyone, including not every Christian. But I'm almost thinking of it as like an audiobook, but it's a visual audiobook. So if you listen to a lot of audiobooks, this is going to be like a step up from that. And so I'm very intrigued by it. I think that people listen to audiobooks would be very intrigued by it, and I think it's going to have a lot of use in churches. I mean, it really would be a great way to do a Bible study. And of course, they are all the Gospels, so it's basically the same story over and over, but it's from those different perspectives. I mean, those 4 Gospels are in the Bible for a reason, like they are. And I assume that like these books, each one is in there for a different purpose, and so these movies will probably all have different purposes as well within telling the same story. I mean, to say, like, if you look at John, it's very philosophical. You're getting a lot of your theology out of John. With Luke, you're looking much more at a factual, this is what happened, step by step. And then Mark is very event-based. It's just kind of like a highlight reel of Jesus' life. So yeah, not a sponsor or anything. I just think it'd be really cool for people. It's the Lumo Project if you want to check it out. And our next story is about England. I'm kind of sad that it's not about the United States because I'd be very curious of how this would go down in the United States. Basically, you have this nurse and she would offer to pray with her patients, and that got her fired. Now, one thing that I hate about Christian news sites is they are obviously biased, and so we don't get all of the information that I wish that we had. Like, she wasn't just fired because some doctor overheard that she was offering to pray. She had actually had complaints against her from patients. One of them was an official complaint to the hospital. Others had just been verbal, them going up to the doctor and being like, she's asking for prayer. I'm not a Christian. I was super uncomfortable. I don't like it. Wanted you to know. So we have no idea if she was just like, hey, I'll pray for you. It says here that you're a Christian. I thought I would offer. Or if it's something where they're like, no, I'm actually an atheist. And then she was like, why? Why are you an atheist? Do you want me to pray for you? Like, we don't know the situation as to why this was happening in the first place. Basically, whenever somebody goes into surgery, she as a nurse has to go in and she helps them fill out this paperwork and then asks them what their religious affiliation is. It was in a list with a bunch of other questions, obviously. It wasn't just what is your religious affiliation. You know, it's one of those things where you fill out and it's like, what is your ethnicity? What is your age, your gender? Are you married? All that good stuff. And so the nurse said that often prompted conversation. And so I don't know how I feel about this for sure, because I understand why she got fired if she was asking like atheists if they wanted to become a Christian and told them how to do so, because they're about to go into surgery. They probably don't want to hear that, and they probably did complain. But as a Christian, like, my mind is on the other side of that fence. Like, you could possibly die. Sorry, you could. I want to make sure that you have an eternity in heaven. Like, how bad of a Christian are you if you don't at least try when it comes to risky situations like this? Like, I understand why she got fired, but I would hope that I would get fired in this situation as well. And then from that, we go to our final story of the day. I didn't want to make it the headliner because I'm sure that you have seen the headline a few other places. And if you're like me, I just kind of kept scrolling past until finally I looked into it. So in Florida, there's this conservative Christian going to this private college, Rollins College to be specific. And this student, Marshall Polston, decided that he was going to enlist himself in a Muslim humanities class. And so then you have the teacher who is a Muslim herself, and she denies that Christ ever was crucified in the first place and that his believers ever believed that he was actually God. Which, if you know anything about Islam, you do know that, they don't believe that Jesus thought he was God or that his believers thought he was God. Did not know the part about not being crucified at all, though. I thought that was interesting. Like, there is unbiased historical data that Jesus was crucified. But anyways, the Christian then challenges the Muslim professor. The professor gives him a failing grade on his next essay. And this is a straight A student, so he goes in and he questions why that is. The professor then reported him to the dean of safety at the college, saying that he was an endangerment. And Polston, the Christian student, went public with it because he doesn't understand how his comments disagreeing with the Muslim teacher are seen as dangerous in any way. And now he has been suspended because he has been deemed unsafe. And so my initial response is, of course, defend the Christian. I mean, it seems pretty black and white, but again, I don't know all of the information. Like, when I hear that the professor deemed him unsafe and reported him for being an endangerment to the classroom, that I'm probably missing something. But if we take this at face value, then yes, I definitely think it's a little bit ridiculous. Like, if we start seeing differences in opinions as dangerous and unsafe, we as a human species are in trouble. But that's where we're gonna end today's show, and we're gonna go to the question of the day being about the hospital, which makes it 2 questions in a row about hospitals, which I thought was kind of weird. If a nurse is offering to pray with people before they go into surgery, even if they aren't Christian, should she be fired or not? Do you think that that is a good thing for her to be doing? Yes or no? I think it's a great thing. I understand why she was being fired. But I want to know what you guys have to say, so please leave a comment in the comment section down below with your answer. And also make sure you check out geeksothergrace.com for more geeky content. My name is Cody Armour, bringing you Christian news in a not-so-boring kind of way every Tuesday and Thursday. In closing, love the haters hate, all the credits right. To everybody like subscribe, I will see you later, and God bless.